So, in case you didn't know, I love classics. Kind of a lot. Enough to have a full shelf full of them. And I started this channel at a point at which I'm probably reading classics at a slower rate than I have been in the last 2 years since I really started enjoying them. That's just because I'm senior year of high school and that takes up time, and if I'm tired and stressed, then the first thing to go in my reading life is my dense edition of War and Peace. That's just, that's the thing I'm going to put aside at the moment. And so because of that, I feel like I haven't really talked a lot about classics on this channel, and because I can't really think of better video ideas at the moment, I decided to do the classics book tag. The first question is an underhyped classic that you didn't like, and okay, I have two answers for this. The first one I've talked about before, and it's Lord of the Flies. I'm not going to talk about it at length. I feel like it's boring, and it's not a good examination of human nature, and it's just annoyed me to my core when I read it, and it's probably one of my least favorite books of all time. Sorry if you love Lord of the Flies. If you do, please let me know why. We can talk about it. You can help me hate it less. It'll be great. And then the second one, my real answer, is Jude the Obscure. Because I went into Thomas Hardy thinking I was going to really like Thomas Hardy. It's just so dramatic. And there was one point near the end of a story, the particularly memorable point if you read the novel, where something happened, and I read it and I was in shock. I was like, oh my god, I had never read a plot device that has been so blatant. There is a lot to love about Jude the Obscure. It's really fascinating and there's a lot to study and a lot of themes to look at, but I mean, all said and done, it was so dramatic. It's the kind of novel where, to me, it felt as if it was trying to be realistic, but at the same time, it was one of the most dramatic things I've ever read. Unbelievably so. Number two is favorite time period to read about, and as I look at this question, I've realized that I don't really read any classics other than 19th century or 20th century literature. And within that realm, I particularly enjoy classics that are set in England and Russia, but that's maybe because I primarily read classics that are set in England and Russia in the 19th and 20th centuries. So what this question has really shown me is that I need to branch out my classics taste. Number three is your favorite fairy tale, and that's a difficult question. My gut tells me to choose Beauty and the Beast because I just love the story. The Disney movie, the original Disney movie, was just one of the most magical things I've ever seen as a child. As someone who loves books, right, I think it's really easy to so deeply relate to it and to just really, really love it. Number four is what classics are you most embarrassed about not having read yet? It's gonna sound so pretentious, but probably War and Peace, because Anna Karenina is one of my favorite books of all time, and after I read Anna Karenina, I almost immediately was like, okay, I want to get to War and Peace as soon as possible. And now over a year has passed, a year and a half has passed, and I still haven't read War and Peace. And I'm going to remedy that in the next month because I'm going to read it for school. I chose it as a book that I can use as a project of some kind, so I'm really, really excited for that. But at the moment, I still haven't read it, and I'm kind of ashamed. So there you go. Number five is top 5 classics you want to read soon. War and Peace aside, I really, really want to read Crime and Punishment. Because I read Some of the Idiot and, I don't know, I just put it down randomly, never really picked it back up, but Crime and Punishment sounds right up my alley. The Tenant of Wildfell Hall, which I want to read for the Bronte Breakdown series, and then also just because it sounds amazing. Mrs. Dalloway, because I want to finally read The Hours, and also I've been meaning to read it forever. Virginia Woolf is one of my favorite authors, and I got into this routine where I really try to savor her, so I'll read one of her novels and then I'll just not read her again for a year, but because I just want to savor the experience of never having read her before as long as possible. But I want to read Mrs. Dalloway. It sounds amazing. I love Virginia Woolf more than almost anyone else in this world, and I'll probably love Mrs. Dalloway, so I want to get to it soon. I want to read A Tale of Two Cities probably sometime soon because I've never read Great Expectations, and I think okay, actually no. I've read Great Expectations, A Christmas Carol, and Oliver Twist, which is more than. But I haven't read any Dickens since I read Great Expectations about a year ago, and I really want to. So I have A Tale of Two Cities and I want to get to it soon. And I also want to read the Oedipus cycle because, I haven't read a lot of Greek classics. I read a fair amount of Euripides plays, actually. I'm making my way through another collection of Euripides, and I've read probably besides that 6 of his plays. But it's weird because he's the only Greek classical writer that I've read in depth or almost at all. So that's just kind of weird. I should really branch out, make my way through the classics and not just Euripides' back catalog. The number 6 is your favorite modern book or series that's based on the classic, and it was hard for me to think of any, honestly, so I kind of just chose the only one that I had read and had really enjoyed, and that's Wait by Jeanette Winterson, which is a retelling of Atlas, the story of Atlas and Hercules, and it's beautiful, as is everything Jeanette Winterson has ever written or touched or thought about in her life, and I really enjoyed it. It is a phenomenal piece of writing. Number 7 is your favorite movie or TV version of a classic, and I don't really watch a lot of classic adaptations on film. I think all I've ever watched is like Jane Austen adaptations, and then this one, which is the North and South adaptation by BBC. I remember it really fleshing out the relationships in the story, and it really did a good job of exploring the themes that were raised in the book between class conflicts and really depicting the relationship between the main character and her love interest, and I just really liked it. Number 8 is the worst classic to movie adaptation, and I'm gonna go with the Hobbit movies because no. Number 9 is the favorite editions you'd like to collect more classics from. Okay, let's go physical here. Let's take some out. I just got these what are they? The vintage classics editions of like some of the Russian classics, so Crime and Punishment, and then I got War and Peace, and they're so pretty. I also really love these vintage editions of Dickens. So I have this one for Great Expectations and Tale of Two Cities, and I think I have another one somewhere. I think it's Hard Times. Is that a book? They're so nice to read because they're the kinds of books that are really floppy, but they don't lose their shape. Because I'm just spotlighting vintage now. I really like the vintage Red Spine editions as well, because again, they hold their shape really well. It's kind of important to me. I really like books that hold their shape, because if they bend and if their pages get all weird, I really like keeping my books pretty, and I like that these editions help me do that. You thought you were done, weren't you? No. Obviously, a classic. I love these Penguin cloth-bound editions, of course, because they're beautiful and durable, and their translations are nice, and I'm just like holding up pretty books now. It's fine. And then last edition, I don't really like these because they're pretty so much. I don't know what these are called. The Penguin Classic, like little black editions. I really like these because, again, they hold their shape well and they're very floppy. So these are good for texts that I'm like working with for school, or want to highlight through, or like really do a lot with the text. So that's really nice because it's like, I don't feel bad kind of trashing them up a little bit. What was the question again? I'm just showing up books now. It's fine. Okay. Number 10 is an underrated classic, and I'm like, are classics really underrated? Because they're all kind of still here, which is in itself a really great accomplishment. I haven't really heard a lot of people talk about Elizabeth Gaskell outside of YouTube, and I've only ever read North and South, but I really, really loved it because it's just a great exploration of class and relationships, and like, I think it's just a really interesting, well done, emotional, good novel. Like, it's a solid novel, and I really, really enjoyed it. Quite tragic. Like, sometimes it's a little bit unbelievably tragic at times, but it is a really nice piece of writing, and I'm really excited to read everything else Gaskell's ever written, because North and South is genuinely really good. So if you read like Bronte's or Austen or any of like the classic female writers of the time, then you probably really, really enjoy Elizabeth Gaskell as well. So thank you guys for watching. Yeah, let me know if you read any of these classics, your favorite classics, whether you've done this tag. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.